Oh my... That is bad. My back, it's paralyzed. I'm done. Was that an Evian bottle, mate? I'm actually the structural integrity. Brother, come on. It didn't even hit you, man. It landed next to you. Is this what you're like in all walks of life? Oh my God, it's over. I'm on death's door. Killed Flipping heck, man. I'm injured again. This is a worse injury than the last two. Brother, it wasn't even your seatbelt. What are you doing? Yo guys, it is your boy Niren here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, this week, lads, we saw the annual Super Bowl. Oh, the cereal. And a dramatic comeback victory in this one for the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't lie, the NFL is so funny to watch, you know. Or not watch if you're an actual football fan. Now, one talking point from this match was Nickelodeon's coverage, using cartoon characters to make it more relatable for kids. Imagine tuning in and Bob the Builder's explaining the offside rule. Honestly, Bob, I'll keep it real. We probably can't. I would have lost my head for Luis Diaz's goal if it was being described like this. Yeah, can't lie, lads. He ain't even offside. There's been a goal. But for who, Peppa Pig?
Oh, man. Bond the bacon, man.
Imagine a UK Super Bowl, man. Bevo attempting to eat American portions over here. He wouldn't even make it to full time. But honestly, lads, I need a League One playoff final halftime show. Now, there's big news, though, in the world of football this week, and that's that Kylian Mbappe is leaving PSG. Is this an FTW from 3 years ago? Every week, I'll be bringing you the best and more frequently the worst. I've honestly had enough of this saga, you know. PSG's transfer negotiators are going to be left depressed, realizing they got to go through this for a 4th year in a row. PSG spent 300 million on Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, and Lionel Messi, only for all of them to leave for free and without winning them a Champions League. Don't be surprised if they put a late offer down on the table, though, offering Kylian the French presidency for him to stay. In 2 seasons, he's going to own PSG, the French state bank, and 75% of Gabon. But look, if he is leaving PSG, where's he gonna go? Well, allegedly, there's word that he could go to Arsenal to follow in Thierry Henry's footsteps. What, and be a backup to Eddie Nketiah? Somehow he's actually got a better chance of a Champions League staying at PSG, mate. Ben White's gonna have a troublesome time trying to communicate to the Frenchman.
Hopefully the French media has more about it than the English media.
Meanwhile, if you thought that was gonna be hard, then Mikel Arteta and Edu are gonna be in for a real shock when he doesn't accept a 150k a week contract.
Oh shit. Yo, give me one second, man. Where you going? Relax, man. Let's negotiate, man.
La Liga side Getafe seemed to be interested in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles contract, but unfortunately Getafe, he's not a criminal, so he can't go there. And as for other Spanish sides, Barca will be checking every pocket for some spare cash when they're told that 14 euros won't be enough to sign him. Now, Arsenal might not even need Kylian Mbappe after scoring 6 versus West Ham. They hammered the Hammers at the London Stadium with a 6-0 away victory. Going into their game, though, when West Ham fans thought their starting 11 was beatable, only for their ham to get cooked. Yeah, so basically, right, long and short of it is they're fucking shit, mate. February marked a Valentine's Day that would see a whole lot of loving, but it was West Ham getting piped at the London Stadium. It was a disastrous scoreline, alright, for the Hammers, but made even worse by an unbelievable Declan Rice performance. He grabbed 2 assists and a goal, an all-timer performance versus his former club. He'll be left upset realising he's getting his almost biological dad sacked with a screamer. And trust me, I don't think David Moyes will take too kindly to Declan trying to call him his pet name at full time.
Moisey? Yeah, okay, I don't think we're that close.
This must have been a difficult one to swallow for West Ham fans, I'll keep it 100. And we're trying to keep spirits high after an early opener.
The first goal doesn't count. I said the first goal.
But they couldn't keep spirits high at half-time, as fans were seen flooding out of the stadium at 4-0 down. And knew setting off a fire alarm was a bad idea at a football ground. At least Martyn managed to capture the moment. Honestly, you'd have beaten the traffic at this one by staying until the end. One West Ham fan did just that, though fell asleep before full-time. I'm convinced that Mohamed Kudus probably had more fun at African Cup of Nations.
I'm out of words. I don't know what to say, man.
Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta didn't look too satisfied down on the touchline, clearly annoyed that they hadn't scored 7. For West Ham players, though, and James Ward-Prowse was getting PTSD as the scoreline edged dangerously close to another 9-0. Honestly, West Ham fans aren't going to want to see another steward for 3 months, because they got slapped, even by Leandro Trossard, who's done all of this with a maximum of 4 hours sleep since Tuesday. Another man who won't be sleeping, though, is Harold Kane.
One eye open when I'm sleeping.
In a top 2 clash at the top of the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich needed to win to stay in touch with Xabi Alonso's unbeaten Leverkusen. But unfortunately for them, this is the Harry Kane they're finding in the Bundesliga. His team talk at 1-0 down didn't seem to go too well with his teammates.
We killed that minute one. We press, we're aggressive, fucking chances, goals.
Wenn dieser Tesco-Mitarbeiter als Fensterputzer Eric Dyer noch einmal erwähnt, werde ich seine Familie entführen.
And Bayern would in the end succumb to a 3-0 damning defeat to the Bundesliga leaders. Kingsley Coman is starting to come to terms with the fact that he's going to go trophyless for the first time since year 9 PE. And as for his teammate Thomas Müller, there was some serious head loss in the post-match interview.
Ist uns vielleicht ein Abwartespiel. Bring den Ball öfter in die gegnerische Hälfte. Spiel mal einen langen Ball von mir aus hier hinten einfach ins Aus. Dann gibt's einen Einwurf, können wir zustellen. Können wir den Druck in der gegnerischen Hälfte haben.
This man is ready to sacrifice Harry Kane if the trophy curse is real. In the crowd, and Leverkusen fans were cherishing the moment of seeing depressed Bayern fans around them. Mario and Luigi were left upset elsewhere. Do you know how bad it is when not even Super Mario can save you? As for Leverkusen, though, and the Pope was in attendance. Trust me, though, Bayern Munich needed divine intervention here, as the opener came from Josip Stanisic, a defender who's on loan from Bayern Munich to Bayer Leverkusen and scored against his parent club. Grimaldo added a second for Leverkusen, and I'm convinced he's the best wing-back in the world.
I love what I'm being said.
For Thomas Tuchel, honestly, and the best course of action may well be to sack himself, and he'll be chasing Harry Kane down, knowing that he's going to be at job centre in 20 minutes. And the misery was compiled by a late Frimpong goal into an empty net after Manuel Neuer went forward for a corner, which is honestly just Manuel Neuer's usual position. As the ball went in and Leroy Sané unleashed his anger on a nearby camera, otherwise known as the Sadio Mane POV. Meanwhile, one Scottish fan tweeted that Harry Kane will want to go to Celtic at the end of his career just so he can win something, only for Hibernian to win the league, and it seems like they have already got that plan in action. They're 5 points off in the Bundesliga, and they're staring down the barrel of a Champions League exit as well, after they lost their first leg encounter in the round of 16 to Italian side Lazio. Barcelona fans are at least enjoying watching this Bayern Munich downfall. Truly, there has to be some sort of explanation for why they've stopped winning trophies as soon as Harry Kane's arrived. So obviously when Harry first saw the trophy cabinet, he was a little bit overwhelmed. He asked why there was so many plates in the area. We didn't bother telling him. I thought it was just easier for him not to know. Obviously, we are really dedicated to making him feel at home, which is why we've decided to entirely collapse out of every tournament. We got him a friend as well. Obviously, we signed Eric Dyer. Tried to sign the most incompetent one, if possible. You know, really help the vibe. But we did really have to put our foot down at the Ben Davies suggestion. I mean, come on, guys. Who are we? They had 0 shots on target here from like 19 in total. I truly just wet performance, man. I don't know what has happened to these lot. Although things weren't helped when Deo Upamecano received a red card and sent the German Giants down to 10 men. Honestly, the referee putting his arm up like this in a game involving Lazio is a risky business. But as I mentioned, Deo Upamecano was sent off. He turns into a completely different footballer when it's time to ruin a Champions League campaign.
It's a bit of a sticky one still.
However, that did absolutely not give anyone the excuse to racially abuse the French centre-back. I understand frustrations being high for Bayern fans generally. They're spoiled and used to winning everything, especially the league. So when things go wrong, it is difficult, but this is absolutely not an acceptable way of dealing with it. And I hope it doesn't affect Deo Upamecano too much. He's still a strong centre-back. Now, I spoke about the final of the African Cup of Nations in a bit more detail in this video here. Unfortunately, Yam's still available, guys. Sail on now. But it saw the Ivory Coast beat Nigeria in the final of the tournament. An unbelievable storyline, given they were on the verge of elimination after the group stages, sacked their manager, then knocked out the holders, and then won the entire thing. And Cote d'Ivoire's boss will be watching on at home, distraught. Victor Osimhen might as well have watched on from the crowd in this one, and at least Napoli's TikTok admin is going to be happy seeing his downfall. There were strong celebrations from Ivorian fans in Paris, and from the players down on the pitch, as you would expect as well, although not everyone was too pleased about them.
Just get down the tunnel, you've won a game.
Look at him with his clap. Someone punch the twat.
One thing that confused me at the time was seeing Max Gradel holding a Morocco flag. Well, the 36-year-old was doing this because it was Morocco's result in the group stages that actually kept them in the tournament in the first place. So as a little nod to the North African side's work, he decided to represent them in the trophy lift as well. One Brighton fan went the extra mile, quite literally, by supporting Simon Adingra and flying all the way out to Cote d'Ivoire. And it may have worked because Adingra was absolutely incredible in this one, and Todd Bowley will be chasing him until he realised who he currently plays for. Not Brighton again, man. I'll be honest, the referee was pretty poor in this one. He wanted to be man of the match. So in fairness, imagine him trying to get out of the ground if he'd given Nigeria decisions at the Ivory Coast home tournament. And on top of that, we were absolutely useless. The Super Eagles performed more like Super Pigeons in this one, but at least behind the scenes, and former Liverpool striker Djibril Cissé has firmly still got it. as for me, depression. But shout out FK Slobodene, North Macedonian side, tweeting their condolences to me. I am North Macedonian now. Back in the Premier League, and United defeated Aston Villa with a late goal from none other than Scott McClutch. I don't know who converted this guy into a centre mid, but they were wrong for it. And trust me, Eric Ten Hag is one Scotsman away from being a Mackey's employee. Honestly, we should boycott both of them at this point. Gareth Southgate was seen in the crowd here watching on. I know for a fact he's going to try and call up Scott McTominay instead of James Maddison. Casemiro was left shocked finding out that McTominay is in fact United's top scorer. And speaking of the Brazilian DM, the only card he's getting this Valentine's is a yellow one. Douglas Luiz grabbed Aston Villa's goal in this one and celebrated with a nod to Rio Carnival. This dance move is absolutely crazy, by the way. The favela flutter, Brazilian body boogie, the Midlands mad ting Macarena. One man who performed well in this one, Andre Anana. An 8.8 rating, you know, saves all over the gaff. Fans will have been left absolutely bemused, applauding the Cameroonian in between eating stadium food laced with hydrochloric acid and the lung of a pigeon. United are also apparently looking into putting cameras onto their kits so that fans can basically watch body cam of their players. And Anthony's, well, that's going to give a pretty unique angle, it's fair to say. Now, elsewhere, and ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea won a Premier League football match.
Oh my God!
To stay in 10th position.
Well, you just knew that was going to happen.
A 3-1 victory here against Crystal Palace proved to be a massive result for the Blues, not only just to get morale high and keep belief in themselves, but mainly in the battle to avoid relegation. Conor Gallagher came back to haunt Palace fans here, although one kid was still giving it large to Chelsea supporters after scoring a penalty before kickoff. This is 10 out of 10 spec-neaky, you know. Palace need to sign this kid. What a guy. It's a shithousery award for the young man. But in Chelsea's late celebrations, and Nicholas Jackson couldn't control himself, running over from the bench to join in, only to get a yellow card for his troubles. His 9th of the season, with only one of them being for an actual foul. Now at full-time, and Enzo Fernandez wanted to give his Chelsea shirt away, but seemed intent on not giving it to these 3 Chelsea fans who were asking for it. Enzo, man, you got a long road here trying to beat the racismo allegations. I get the feeling Enzo's going to be left pretty frustrated with Raheem Sterling, though, when the Chelsea winger misses his next one-on-one.
Keep my thing brief. Immigrants are jarring.
Now, it was a good week for Manchester City as well, as they beat Copenhagen in the Champions League. A shout out to Copenhagen here for making this one interesting, but it's a massive uphill struggle from here if we're honest. Kevin De Bruyne's record since coming back from injury is absolutely disgusting. Phil Foden was getting forward to grab a goal in the 92nd minute, but was being forward in a different sense after seeing local Scandinavian women that he could get with again.
How about that D, baby?
But there's one thing I know about Copenhagen, even though he didn't play, someone needs to sign their wonder kid, Rooney Bargy. Liverpool, I'm looking at you. But from one Rooney to another now, as Wayne is in talks to take part in a Misfits boxing event following his sacking as Birmingham manager. He doesn't need any more brain cells knocking out of him, let's be honest, guys. He's denied it, though. As far as he's concerned, this leaves a bad taste in the mouth, and that's just the prime that they've got him drinking at the event. Could you imagine genuinely watching him step into a ring with Deji? First of all, one-sided affair. Give it 2 rounds before he's sneaking off with one of the ring girls. Wayne was disappointed on Twitter when he found out he couldn't actually fight himself. Meanwhile, John Fury will be having some threats for the former United legend when Wayne starts beefing his son Tommy.
I don't know why he's being cheeky. Why is he being cheeky?
Now imagine you've not got tickets for Liverpool's win over Burnley this week. That doesn't matter. You can just fly a plane over the stadium and watch the game from there instead. This is just how Taylor Swift gets to the club shop, mate. Over at Tottenham, and Emerson Royale is doing Emerson Royale things, getting a tattoo whilst playing FIFA. Honestly, this guy is completely unhinged, man. He's a footballer I genuinely would like to watch the life of. Over at United, and Sofian Amrabat is back and ready to play for United again, and apparently has the nickname El Terminator on Instagram. There is absolutely no reason for this man to be called the Terminator, other than terminating his own United career. Former United manager Sir Alex Ferguson was asked a very important question this week.
Will Spurs ever win the Premier League? No. No.
A legendary Scotsman, and on the theme of Scotland, they'll be allowed to bring bagpipes to games for Euro 2024. And you lot thought vuvuzelas were bad. Imagine Speed trying to get Ronaldo's attention from outside the ground. Meanwhile, Bukayo Saka will be looking to get in touch with the local culture when he touches down in Glasgow. Now in Spain, and Real Madrid took a step into the Champions League quarterfinals with a 1-0 first leg win versus RB Leipzig. Before the game though here, and their bus was damaged after a road accident in Germany. And look, listen, your bus has got a knee injury. I know just the replacement. RB Leipzig actually opened the scoring here very early on, but had the goal controversially disallowed through VAR. They were left raising their eyebrows, shall we say, on Twitter. Brahim Diaz scored a beautiful goal, though the only goal in the game for Real, and brought out the Jude Bellingham celebration. A man from Stourbridge genuinely has the world in a headlock. He's 10 more goal contributions this season, away from Real Madrid retiring his shirt number as well. Imagine when he's actually finished his Duolingo course. Once this brother can say more than 6 words in Spanish, he's gonna be unstoppable. And speaking of unstoppable, Andre Lunin in goal for Real was just that. If he was on hole in the wall, I'm telling you now, it'd be a different game. Real Madrid also won in La Liga, a statement victory beating title hopefuls Girona 4-0. Ladies and gentlemen, the dream is shattered. Girona have only lost twice this season in the league, both times to Real. Vinny Jr. scored a screamer in this one. These lot are just too good, man. Kylian Mbappe being added to this squad would need a UN NATO hearing. The entire FBI, 007 and NASA would need to be on the panel in the courtroom. By the way, Kepa Arrizabalaga left Chelsea on loan because he's on the bench. Now he's holding bench for Real as well. Jude Bellingham posted about the victory on Instagram, to which Fede Valverde told him that he can't play football with 3 legs.
Sexy, you know what, penetration.
Elsewhere though in La Liga, and Barcelona didn't quite enjoy the same success, drawing 3-3 to 19th place Granada. They went from 2-1 up to 3-2 down in 6 minutes. Neymar's been in Barcelona recently. Barca fans will be hoping for a comeback, though let's be honest, that would be immediately cut short by injury. If I'm Barca's president, I'm finding a home for his sister just to sweeten up the deal. Granada, I feel like they just spawn in La Liga each season, by the way. And they always do bits against Barca. The last time the Catalan side beat them was in 2021 when Lamine Yamal was 9. That may be the one thing that Barca actually have over Real Madrid at the moment in the Wonder Kid debate. Arda Güler's played about 8 minutes in the league this season. Lamine Yamal's highlights are longer than Arda Güler's actual lights. This might well get Barcelona back in the title race. Meanwhile, on the women's side of things for Barcelona, they have been dominant in Spain over recent seasons, but Barca Femení dropped their first home point since 2019 this week, a 70-game stretch. Meanwhile, at Cadiz, and one player forgot that he actually needed to get onto the pitch to start the second half whilst being interviewed. Yeah, clearly distracted, boss. You can't fool me. Now, over in France, and a guy called Brazier got sent off for Brest in the 69th minute.
Brest? What the fuck league is this?
Brother, French football isn't real. I'm telling you right now. How is a guy called Brazier playing for Brest and getting sent off specifically in the 69th minute? Juventus fans are not happy with their management at the moment and are calling for the end of Massimo Allegri. So much so they hired out an ad on Times Square calling for him to be sacked. The poor guy just wanted to enjoy a New York holiday.
I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
He's gonna be looking up with pure sadness when he sees the same ad appear on the stadium's big screen. And over in Germany, I don't know what is going on between Wolfsburg and Union Berlin, but scoring in the 25th minute of first half injury time seems a little excessive. That's not added time, mate. That's multiplied time. Now that it's time for your goals of the week and you want to stick around for this one, we go from a barnstormer, a proper shed scrambler, now to a more acrobatic attempt where forward Rooster has brought out the acrobatics for Marilia. But finally, I'm warning you now, if you somehow haven't seen this, this may be one of the best goals we've ever had on the show. Take a bow, Hull City's Jadon Philogene, producing a lovely bit of skill to get some space in the area, then cutting back to send a defender to the shot and bring out a rabona that chips over the goalkeeper and finds the back of the net via the post. A truly ridiculous goal from any angle. It's just a shame that this one's been called as an own goal because it took a deflection. I want justice for Jadon. Fuck that shit. He's done far too much for this to be classified as an own goal. I don't care about the physics. Hello all and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes the beautiful game. Now, over in Saudi Arabia, and we saw the culmination of the Al Riyadh Cup this week, a tournament involving Al Hilal, Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr, and Lionel Messi's Inter Miami. Well, the final match took place between the two Saudi sides, and WWE's The Undertaker was the man to get this one underway. The Saudi League, yeah, I saw someone tweet about this. It's like if you give the controls of everything to a 10-year-old. Next season's editions are going to be crazy. Pro Clubs breaks at the 20th minute. Monster trucks coming out at half-time. Oh, for fuck's sake, guys. I know Kante's small, but you can't drive over him. A penalty shootout where the penalty spot is at the end of a water slide. But this one caused controversy for Cristiano Ronaldo. Al Hilal were victorious here, and Ronaldo was getting rattled by Lionel Messi chants from the crowd, saying that he was here, not Leo. Al Hilal supporters were throwing scarves at him, only for the Al Nassr man to rub them against his crotch and throw them away. And you know what? I understand the pain that Ronaldo's feeling. He lost to Al Hilal for United too, and that is what I call longevity. Big Ron did score in the AFC Champions League though, which means he's now grabbed goals in 22 consecutive years. A genuinely incredible record for Big Ron, not gonna lie. And he was cupping his ears for his haters to chat to him. I mean, there were barely any fans of him, let alone haters there, because there was only 3,000 people in attendance in a fuck-off massive stadium. Now though, it is time for your final Asian Cup segment, because Qatar made themselves back-to-back winners here in the final, defeating a Jordan side in their first ever cup final 3-1. The hero of the hour here was Akram Afif, who scored a hat-trick in the final, in the same stadium that Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick in for the World Cup final. It was, though, a hat-trick of penalties. I honestly think the Qatar Association need a new badge. But his celebration was the coldest, doing a magic trick live into the TV camera. Yeah, this guy is different. There might not be the same positivity, though, when he goes into the physio's room and does a magic trick cutting a man in half. For fuck's sake, man, I'm trying to fix his hamstring. Oh, Afif, he has really pulled the rabbit out of the hat here. Oh, wait, no, it's an actual rabbit. But in the build-up here to the final, there was more of an explanation as to why South Korea struggled so much in the Asian Cup. That's because there was practically a massive scrap between their players involving some of their main men. Kangin Lee, alongside some of the other younger Korean players, wanted to leave their dinner early. Senior players saw it as disrespectful, and it led to a scrap that saw most of the squad wanting Kangin Lee excluded from the team. Heung-min Son stepped in to try and break things up, but the only thing he managed to break was his finger. That's my son! And he was not taking things too lightly from his teammate after someone managed to flat back his knuckle. Over in Australia now, and at Sydney FC, we may well have seen the best goal ever in FTW today. You're about to see the worst miss of all time. Take a bow, Patrick Wood. He's won the ball back off the goalkeeper. All you have to do is tap it in with your left foot.
Dubikovic, oh, the mistake. Oh, and the miss! Well, anything can and does happen.
Yeah, the guy's got negative 3-star weak foot. What are you doing, son? In Turkey, in a game involving Fenerbahce, they wanted to promote a new anti-smoking campaign going around the country and just the world of football generally. A lovely touch, something that I think they should get behind. Smoking is a big killer. It's just a shame they couldn't get the Turkish commentator on board, as a camera accidentally cut to him during the match, smoking whilst commentating. Doesn't really match the message. In Mexico now, and if there's one thing you don't want to do 2 minutes in, it's have your goalkeeper concede an absolute clanger.
Más detalles.
¡Ojo con esta!
Meanwhile, at the other end, and the other goalkeeper's doing up gymnastics, catching the ball behind his back. That's the most unnecessary flex I've ever seen in my life. Mexican football legend Andre Pierre Gignac was almost decapitated on an escalator, trying to bend down and give a signature to a fan. Honestly, my life flashed before my eyes watching this one, let alone his. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Mexico, and the mascots are getting a little bit freaky.
Los melenudos. Mira nada más, caray, caray. Caray, vámonos.
Hey, yo, I know it's Valentine's Day, but I swear the guy in this suit is 57. There was more crazy scenes over in Uruguay as Peñarol faced off against the Uruguayan Liverpool, but you probably saw more red there than you do at Anfield, with a ridiculous amount of sendings off in this one. Was there a fucking bare-knuckle brawl in the middle of this one? Now, closer to home and over at Leeds,
Oh, what?
Yeah, look, listen, I know that Leeds' admin has been waiting for a Willie Nonto goal. This is outrageous behaviour, and Scottish side Wraith Rovers weren't having it. Listen, you're the ones that gave Dick an extension, by the way, so. Staying at Leeds, though, when there was controversy, as Patrick Bamford quite clearly scored a goal with his elbow this week. It wasn't picked up, there's no VAR down in the Championship, and he celebrated with his elbow. Outrageous behaviour, quite literal cheating, and a massive shithousery award. Gold standard. On the theme of celebrations, and at Coventry City, City, better say Dutch wingback Milan van Eerwijk might have got this celebration a little bit wrong. He said he got too mixed up. Hey, listen, Milan, you got some explaining to do. Meanwhile, Watford have signed an under-13s player called Ronaldo, and he understood the assignment upon signing his contract. Argentina played up against Brazil in a youth game this week, and things were getting pretty heated with some Argentine time wasting. In Poland now, and they've decided to combine gymnastics with football. It's a 10. There were some subtle instructions going on at Urawa over in Japan. Yeah, move over there. I'm trying to do it so they don't see me. Move over. In Morocco, if you're gonna score an own goal, you might as well do it with serious style.
Special beyond special.
It's a 10. The own goals keep coming, this time in Portugal, where Estrela Amadora managed to score 2 of them in 1-3-0 defeat. The best of them definitely being this goalkeeper chucking it into his own net. The defending was slightly better over at Hollywell, as players were putting their lives on the line to stop this ball from going in. Unbelievable header was lying on the floor here. Interesting scenes for Lokomotiv Moscow and Malmo, both who played 2 games in the same day. Listen, anything to get a bit of match sharpness into the side. We have one of these every single week. Let's just get it out of the way, because over in Qatar,
Special.
Please look at where your goalkeepers are before you pass the ball back. Thank you. Over at Hartford, and their player manager subbed himself onto the pitch, and the results are quite possibly the best they could have been. Talk about leading by example. In Argentina, and one wide man went on a crazy long run, got to the byline only for the ball to go out of play, and took his frustrations out on the advertising board. Meanwhile, the frustrations are being taken out differently over in Colombia, as these fans are quite literally setting their shirts on fire in the stands. Yeah, South American football's different, man. They'd even wait to get out of the stadium. Now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, Farsley Celtic aren't necessarily an amateur team, alright? I think they're semi-pro, they're sort of in the Vanarama system in England. But I feel like the club's deaf team is probably amateur, so I think it qualifies. Either way, they did an unbelievable job this week, winning 36-0. I mean, that is all well and good. I love the fact they're inclusive and they've got themselves a deaf team. But 36-0? Were they playing against a blind team? Onto the weird stuff though now. Icelandic side KV recently suffered their 2nd relegation in 2 seasons. Back to back, things are not going well. They've decided that now is a time for a very unorthodox approach. Nothing else has worked, so why not hire a 27-year-old whose only experience is playing 13,000 hours of Football Manager. Shout out Ori Torresson, who is their new head coach, and genuinely his qualifications are playing Football Manager. This is their next Will Still. In Serbia, and as the crazy story of Netan De Medina, who is usually their starting goalkeeper, but was not available to Partizan Belgrade because he was bitten by a dog. Yet one of the more ridiculous, interesting reasons to miss out on a football match, this guy genuinely was not available for selection because he got nibbled by the local Labrador. That sounds crazy for some reason. I don't know why. Over at India's women's under-19 side, they were facing off against Bangladesh in an under-19s final. It ends in a draw, the penalty shootout ends in a draw, and the referee decides to award the trophy and victory by doing a coin toss at the end. Bangladesh's players are obviously not happy with this as a result. There's chaos afterwards, and in the end, the referee's decision is overruled and they share the trophy. Absolutely ridiculous stuff there. But finally, and a much more serious story, one that was shared to me quite a lot, but has unfortunately ended in pretty tragic circumstances, and that is the case of an Indonesian footballer who was struck by lightning during a game. I'm obviously not going to show the footage, but it's a tragic situation. My thoughts with his friends and family. If you do end up in the ridiculously uncommon situation of this being about to happen, you can usually tell, so make sure to just get to a safe place under shelter. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.